Well, it's official. I am late to finish the Avocademy UX Bootcamp. And while initially I was pretty bummed about it, I've come to realize that maybe it's for the best. A lot of the reason I ended up finishing late is because I tried to put a lot of detail and polish to the designs that I'm working on. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad reason. Obviously, things can get a little too extreme with perfectionism, but I feel like I achieved at least a decent balance of trying to get a good design while trying to finish it within some reasonable time frame. The good news is that I finally got my app screens approved after facing 3 rejections. And after the first couple rejections, I will say that I was actually super impressed with the video feedback that I received from the mentors. They all gave incredibly actionable advice and even showed how to do some of the suggestions that they made on the video. So I was really pleased about that. But then once I get the 3rd rejection and revision request, I start to get a little bit annoyed and frustrated. Now at that point, nothing major needed to be revised. It was all just minor stuff, but I could feel my ego getting a little butthurt. And I was just thinking, you know, who cares about that tiny little detail if my picker border is just a little bit too thick? With some reflection though, I am very grateful that the mentors do provide such in-depth feedback because UX is a competitive field. And so I need every advantage that I can get in order to make my designs look as polished and professional as possible. So I do appreciate that the mentors seem to really care about making the designs look good and are willing to give such in-depth and useful actionable feedback. After my high fidelity app screens got approved, it was off to making a prototype, which is a no-code simulation of how my app would run, at least through a few different user flows. In my case, it's an app to help musicians collaborate with each other. The problem I had with the prototype is that the example they give in the Avocademy Bootcamp is very superficial in the sense that the user just clicks on screens and just sort of advances to the next one, which is all fine. But in my app, it sort of requires text input. Like people have to be able to put in what day they're available, the time, and what their genre preferences are and things like that. And I just didn't know how to do that. And when I found out how to do it, it was a crazy process. Like basically I would have to design an app screen for every different variable that a user would select. So like 30 different screens for each of the 30 days that could potentially be selected. And I was like, no, that absolutely not. That is not happening. So I chatted with a mentor and he came up with a good solution to help overcome this. He mentioned a good way to solve it is to just pre-select the date, time, and preferences and all that. And this really helps out because the next piece of this is I had to design a user testing script. So in this, I have to come up with 3 different tasks that a user performs within the app. So by following my mentor's advice, when I give the user a task, it would include those parameters that I preset in the prototype. So for example, if I wanted them to schedule a collaboration with someone, I would say, hey, you are a singer-songwriter looking for a music producer. Your next available time is November 7th between 9 and 11 a.m. and basically go from there. That way all the parameters are pre-selected, so when the user goes through the app and those get selected, it just makes sense in the grand scheme of things. As far as the actual user testing script, Avocademy has basically done 80% of the work. They have a really good script and it's in a pretty conversational tone. It doesn't sound too robotic and stiff. And the only thing that I had to come up with were the 3 user tasks. And then I had to come up with probing questions for each of the tasks. So for example, I would ask about, hey, how did the match screen look? Or was anything complicated? What could be changed about this to make it easier? Just so that I can gain some insights on things that might be annoying to users, frustrating, or just hard to understand. So as for the next steps, I have to do the user testing phase. So I do the user testing remotely through Zoom. with 5 different people, and I go through each of those 3 different tasks that I planned out in the user testing script, all while asking those probing questions to gain insight from them. Lucky for me, I have quite a few people that I know that are musicians, so I'm reaching out to them to try to get a schedule going. And this coming week is when I'll be working on all of those user testing videos. So yeah, I feel like I'm finally getting close to the finish line. It's still kind of far away, but I feel like I can just sort of see the crest of it starting to form, and that's pretty exciting. If you are interested in Avocademy, I do have a link in the description below. It is an affiliate link, so if you want to support this channel, then that is a great way to do so. And if you want to save a little money off the course, you can use the code SAVE100, and that will save you $100 off the course, which is pretty nice. So stay tuned until my next video. I plan to keep you updated as I go through this course and my overall journey to become a UX designer. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.